How's everyone doing this afternoon? Thank you for coming along. This is the first time Autodesk University is happening in Bangalore. That's the first good news. The second good news is DMG, which is called the Digital Manufacturing Group. This is the first time we have a slot at Autodesk University. This is primarily, we're going to talk about two solutions. One is subtractive, additive, and what is the future. So to begin with, you might have heard of this terminology called Industry 4.0, right? What is it? Is it just a term or is it a buzz? Let me introduce Pankaj. Who is Pankaj? Pankaj heads the DMG India business. Apart from India, he has additional responsibility for the Middle East market as well. In Pankaj's presentation, he will talk about Delcam integration into Autodesk India, where we are today, and what's the future of manufacturing. Let's give a big round of applause to Pankaj.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Vishwa. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The toughest session after a good, nice meal in the lovely Bangalore weather, and then you have everybody here. They're wide awake, but I need to ensure they stay awake, right? So anyway, I'm dead sure that we will have a great afternoon today, and you will leave from here pretty much happy, and more importantly, you will leave here with a lot of information. So all of you, I'm sure, attended the main stage, right? And from a manufacturing perspective, there is one thing that I retained from the main stage. And let me share with you, and let me see a show of hands if how many of you also took away that message. So I took away that message as a manufacturing person, that manufacturing in construction has become a reality. How many of you got that message, correct? So manufacturing in construction becoming a reality, you're going to hear a lot of speakers today who are going to talk of some manufacturing technology which is actually going to enable that in the future. So you're really going to have a good information coming your way in the next 2.5 hours. Please make sure you absorb everything. I'm sure a lot of you might have some questions that might come in your mind. Keep it for the end. We have some time in the end where you can fire some questions at any of the presenters who would have come here on stage. The good part is there are only 2 presentations from Autodesk, and there are 4 presentations from people like you. So there are people sitting here amongst you who are customers who are actually going to come here and talk about how they use the Autodesk technology to make things. So without further ado, let me move on and talk to you about Delcam integration into Autodesk. So it was about 3 years ago where Delcam was acquired by Autodesk. It was a very considered decision, and when I get deeper into my presentation, I will explain to you how Delcam very well fits into the long-term vision that Autodesk has for manufacturing. So the first 2 years, we consciously ran the Delcam business as a subsidiary to Autodesk, and it was just last August, which was 1st August 2016, that we actually got Delcam completely integrated into Autodesk. My legacy, I have been with Autodesk. I'm going to complete 9 years in coming Feb, and I was given the task of actually getting the Delcam business integrated into the Autodesk ecosystem. What you see up here on the slide is the first things first, all the products were given a complete avatar of an Autodesk product. So all the products that all you guys love, all you guys use, there's a huge equity that Delcam had built across the world, and it was no different in India. And that's exactly what you see. Last August, we completely changed all the Delcam products to look and feel like an Autodesk product. Also, if you look at the vision statement that Autodesk has, which is imagine, design, and create. Now, Delcam really helps to complete that vision statement in true spirit, because Autodesk, a 35-year-old company, was always known for design, and we were really pioneers in offering design solutions to our customers. The create part is where the Delcam offering really comes and sits and gives a lot of more blood and flesh to our vision. So let me give you a little background of where we have reached in the last 15 months of getting the Delcam integration into Autodesk. So the sole focus that we brought about when we started this integration was the customer. There were more reasons than one that we needed to do this. The first biggest reason was Delcam business in India was run as a direct business with customers. Unlike the historical Autodesk business, the CAD business, which was basically run through an indirect model through channels. So we had to really rewire the Autodesk ecosystem to understand how do we create an organization to transact, to deal, to build relationships directly with customers. The good part was we had the entire team of Delcam who pretty much got integrated into the ecosystem. So the customer relationships part were kept intact. But we had to build a lot of internal systems to start transacting with customers directly in local currency, not through a distributor or a dealer importing goods. So we had to create a local entity which invoices to customers directly. And hence our focus when we built the organization was totally customer. What we created a sales team which we inherited from Delcam. We divided the technical team into two parts. One is the pre-sales, people who really help you kind of decide the technology or do some prove-outs, and the post-sales team who actually support you once you buy the technology. Apart from that, we had an international support desk which is based out of Pune, which basically helps you in building the post-processors based on the machines that you have and the software that you are taking. And last part, and not the least, rather the most important part, we definitely needed a field marketing engine to work here and influence the Indian customers or explain to the Indian customers what is Autodesk Delcam all about and what is it that we have to offer. So that's the organization, what you see on the screen, that we created over the last 15 months, ever since Delcam came into Autodesk. What did we do to reach out to all of you, right? It was very important because there were two big changes that we were dealing with here. One was integrating an entity called Delcam into Autodesk, and the second most important thing was we changed our business model beginning February, where we moved from the perpetual license regime to a subscription regime. So it required us to do our part of reaching out to customers, explaining to them these changes, and ensure that they completely understand what's coming their way. So what did we do? So we did a host of activities to reach out to the market, whether it's got to do with on-ground events, whether it's got to do with online stuff, whether it's webinars, whether it's coming out with press articles. So we invested a lot of time, money, and we went out to customers in their locations. So you can see we actually did about over 12 on-ground events covering about 900 plus customers, explaining to them what's the Delcam integration into Autodesk all about, what's the change of business model all about, how it's going to benefit you, so on and so forth. So we did this investment because we felt that the kind of customers we were inheriting from Delcam are somebody who would really love the technology. So it's our duty to ensure that we walk them through this integration path and get them into the Autodesk family almost seamlessly. So we really wanted to do this, and we went ahead and did that. Having said that, let's see where we reached after these 15 months that we have inherited all customers of Delcam and built a lot of new customers. So ever since Delcam came into Autodesk, we've clocked over 1,000 customers that we have brought who have transacted with Autodesk. We built a support line. It was very important. All of us understand that the CAM business is very support intensive. So there is a toll-free support number that's now set up, and the the support is provided in local languages as well on a 24/5 basis. 4,500 hours of professional training delivered to customers on site. So we not only built a product, delivery engine, which is supplying products and software technology, we also today do services like training. So our engineers actually come on customer site and train. And we've already delivered almost close to 4,500 plus hours of training to customers on the CAM technology. 150 plus post-processors delivered based on customer needs and requirements. 1,200 plus support cases logged. So the entire support engine that we have built today is basically an online support engine and a tele-support engine. And customers have started using it. So there was a sense of resistance initially, but they kind of realized that there is help available at that very instance. So customers started using their Autodesk account to log cases, and they started getting responses. Apart from this, Autodesk firmly believes in the forums and the knowledge network. So there are a lot of information that's available for our customers to go and troubleshoot and understand the kind of problems that they are facing. Does it exist somewhere else, and are there solutions available? Last but not the least, there is a methodical way in which we measure customer satisfaction. Each our support engineer actually, after every case, sends a survey out to customers, and they get rated on what kind of customer satisfaction has been delivered. It's a scale of 0 to 5, with 5 being the highest, and we are currently tracking it in excess of 4.5 on that score. So net, the point I'm trying to make here is that we understood what Delcam has brought to our business in terms of customer loyalty, in terms of product superiority, and Autodesk, having a legacy of more than 3 decades of incubating good technology, we are providing that attention to it, and we are committed to build this technology even further. At the end of the day, I can put up all the statistics on the board and tell you this is what I've done, these are my statistics. But if my customers don't endorse it, I'm sunk. So let's see what some of our customers have to say. And these are customers who have been using this technology, who have experienced working with Autodesk, and who are endorsing that they are really happy with the technology that is being provided. And I'm sure that there will be many more such endorsements that we will strive to get and ensure that I have probably 4 or 5 slides like this in whenever I meet you next time. Having said that, a big thank you to all of you. A lot of you are using our technology, and we will ensure that moving forward, we will not disappoint you, and we will take these things further on. Changing tracks and zooming in on to the agendas for the day and what you're going to hear from the speakers that will follow. I just want to set a little bit of a context. You had a great context on the main stage today, which pretty much is there in all our minds. But I'll just give you some more context from my perspective, which will kind of dovetail into what the other speakers will come and talk about. So as I was mentioning to you, Autodesk has been very intentional in investing in the manufacturing technology. So over the last 7 to 8 years, we have actually gone and bought technology or bought the IPs, keeping in mind where the future of manufacturing is headed. You can clearly see the investments are happening in all phases of manufacturing, whether it is simulation, whether it is subtractive manufacturing, or it is additive manufacturing. Because we firmly believe the way the manufacturing landscape is moving and changing, having these IPs will empower us to really deliver products of the future for our customers. And that's where you see Delcam is very well positioned there. We already have acquired NetFab, which is a 3D printing technology. We have a 3D printing platform called Forge. So these all are very intentional investments because we know, or what we see, how the manufacturing landscape is changing in the times to come. A little bit about the industry evolution, which basically will again set a context to where we are going. So many of us, I for sure, I'm an engineer myself. When I went and did my engineering, I used to carry a drafter and a T-square to college. All of us, probably many of us here, started our engineering at that time, right? And that's when AutoCAD or close to 30 years back, though I did not do my engineering 30 years back. But yeah, sometime around 30 years back, AutoCAD hit the desktops, and 2D drawing on the desktop became reality for us. And the drafters and the T-squares were given away, and then we started doing 2D drafting on screens. Very interesting era, okay? We suddenly saw efficiencies, we suddenly saw a lot of value, but we became greedy because we liked that technology and we sought for more. What did we seek when we were using the 2D technology? We were seeking optimization. What the 2D did not offer was a 3D element to that whole drawing. And then we saw softwares evolving and actually simulating that entire thing on your screen in a 3-dimensional format. And that's when the era of optimization was born. Guess what? We are right now staring at the era of connection. Leave aside manufacturing, all of us here today wouldn't have even imagined that we would have been banking on our handphones. Right? We would not have imagined that we would be doing transfers of 1 lakh on our handphone or even more just on our handphone. So not only on the consumer side, it's everywhere that it started to happen. So the era of connection is here. It's already there. And I think the good part is Autodesk understands that this landscape is changing and is fast changing. So what you will hear from the people who will come on stage after I leave is exactly what is likely to happen in the era of connection and how they are transforming, how they are changing, and what kind of things they are doing. So my only request to you is, please ensure you hear every word because you're really going to benefit out of this 2.5-hour session, and we'll be very glad to take questions at the end of the session. That's pretty much from my side. Thank you very much for joining us.